What's up, everybody? The Crap Gamer here, the most compelling game-related YouTuber, and you damn well know it. Also, the king of all gaming-related media, and you know that as well. Back with another video, and this is a video a few days in the making because I was one of the first people to actually retweet this from the Killer Instinct Twitter account, where they said at EVO that Killer Instinct runs so well because it actually runs at 90 frames per second. Yes, the dagger in the heart of the Sony fanboys and the Sony fan base. Don't! You guys can't even get a game to run 60. And here we go with a Microsoft Xbox One game running at 90 frames per second. Yet again, the Xbox One has multiple exclusives, AAA games running at 60 frames per second and also 1080p 60 frames per second, while the PS4 sadly has not delivered on that promise. I seem to remember a certain tweet from a certain member of Sony's own team that says, give me 1080p and 60 frames per second or give me death. Well, that guy would have gotten death by now. But back on topic, Killer Instinct's developers announced at EVO 2015 that Killer Instinct actually runs at 90 frames per second, but it actually does. The rub to that is it displays at 60 frames per second. The game's engine does what the devs call a rollback to 60 frames per second during gameplay, and the high frame rate factors into what goes on. So basically, it's an interesting situation because the engine runs it at 90, but the game runs it at 60. So it assures you're getting a solid 60 lock, and there's not a whole lot of lag. There's no input lag or anything like that. Long story, or kind of a short story for me, I gave up on fighting games years ago because of input lag. You do hits. There are so many of them that are just button mashers, where literally you give a controller to a little kid and he can push the same button over and over again and kick your ass, and that got really old. The situation that I like about Killer Instinct that got me back into these types of games is the fact that it runs so flawless. There's no game updates thanks to the cloud. It's running on dedicated servers. It's running at a really high rate, and that's something you notice. A lot of games are having problems, these fighting games that aren't Killer Instinct, with the net coding and things like that. You hear people say, oh, the net coding's bad, the net coding's terrible. That's the reason why. Now, I do want to rub a little salt in the wounds of the Sony fanboys, and, I'm sure they're already licking their wounds because they've got nothing to play for the rest of this year. They bought a console that's literally not going to offer them anything for 3 years. They were promised 1080p, 60 frames per second on everything. They act like they could tell when a game's 1080p. They swore up and down that the Rise of the Tomb Raider footage was 1080p, or was 900p. Developer confirmed 1080p, and they're still trying to point out that it's 900p, even though the developers already confirmed it. They didn't know that Killzone Shadowfall's online was 720p, so I'm just gonna go with Sony fanboys don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and it's about time that they get exposed for the idiots and morons that they are. Just the fanboys, mind you. If you like PlayStation, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's perfectly okay with me. It's just the idiotic fanboys that, have no love for anything else, refuse to buy anything else, and refuse to admit any kind of fault with PlayStation as a whole. But anyway, where's that 50% more power, guys? Again, my dog shit challenge is out there. Show me a game or any kind of thing that shows that the PS4 has 50% more power, and I'll eat dog shit on camera on my channel. And you guys are free to use that video for whatever purposes you want. I haven't yet to see it. Xbox One keeps evolving. PS4 keeps doing nothing. Standing still. Let me know what you guys think. Killer Instinct, bitches. 90 motherfucking frames per second. Suck it. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer, out.